It's the Crypto Sniper. Welcome back, crypto friends. Hope you are enjoying the alt run. That's right. We're calling for the third time lucky, by the way. The alt run is here. Bitcoin dominance is going to go down and the major alts are going to outperform. So to be clear, we've called twice before and been early, which is a fancy way of saying wrong. But we'll look at that Bitcoin dominance chart and what we think will be the alt progress. But let's also have a look at some of the YouTubes. We warned 6 days ago that this is going to be a relaunch. In fact, before that, we warned that there was going to be a relaunch 9 days ago. Then we came out and did a recap that things were indeed relaunching and getting more exciting. And 3 days ago, we were talking about XRP specifically on an upside structure that we felt would see it be an outperformer over the next 7 odd days, of which 3 to 4 have already gone. So we're glad to be updating you. It's a much better time for crypto, so we've got more to say. There's more going on. There's action, Jackson. So let's have a look at some of the things that are going through on the Twitter feed as well. X feed, I should say now. So we put out a small ADA draw earlier, and in fact we were talking about it before it triggered in our community. Like many communities in crypto, there's quite a few ADA fans. So nice move going on, and it actually has run that target. It was a moderate one on a minute 30, so ADA has stirred a little bit. There it is, making that target that we suggested, and of course that mandatory little pullback, which means you get out at a localized high and you can retake stock by looking at technical analysis. Remember the squeezy Japanesey. By the way, couple of friends to call out. We have got Rupert, a community member that's running a great channel with fundamental info, and also the Black Swan Capital guys. Also really solid on top of it. Make sure you're subbing on their channels, both on X and of course on YouTube, for up-to-date fundamental information. When it comes to monetizing all the good info that those guys are doing, HVF method is absolutely your star. So I want you to be well informed through the utilization of both those channels, Real All In Crypto and the Black Swan Capital guys, Versan and Vandal. And then when you want to make the money in it, HVF method is going to be your best friend. Because why? Small risk, highly expensive moves. Crypto is perfect for that. Alt runs are perfect for that. The time is now. It is the purple patch, guys. It is the purple patch. This is it. It's going to be from now till maybe October, maybe December. If you're very lucky, we might get a small extension and a run into the next year. There could be some demand-destroying events in the banking, real debt world during all of that. So you've got to be able to pick those moments when you can maximize. But generally, it's a very productive time to be building wealth here. And it's been very good for me, and for more importantly, for many of the community members that are jumping on and taking some of the trades and being positioned in the right things. Overall, our positioning has been very strong and dominant in hodls for XRP, Tron, and we have space and room for consideration for a little bit of Monero on account of the privacy and some of its technicals, and I think it'll come alive. So we've spoken a lot about those tokens, but there's other tokens that have done very well that we've also taken trades in, and some that we're looking at. And you are only getting to see after the fact, so of course the entry is later, the stops are further away, and some of the move is already gone. Unfortunately, it's a full-time business making sure my community is kept up to date, and then the free view comes later, and often in retrospect, and when we've got something to say. So we've got a couple of interesting things we're going to talk to you about today. So we're going to take a look at XRP. By the way, just on this, again, going through some of the best 7 days have been XRP and Cardano. Both of which we were putting out as upside HVFs in structures. And also here, we'll talk more about this upward leaning HVF method structure that many people that are not in our course and program have no idea what about, and why that was to be an upward move. And we'll show also to you that we actually trade that as well. So stop placements here, accumulating position here, lovely run to the upside on our hot pots. So hot pots, orange, hot pots are red, orange, which is lukewarm, so it's good collateral, moderate leverage, and then complete investment, which can be cold pot, it can be on your cold wallet for all we care, but good stuff. So I'm hoping the Black Swan Capital guys are also enjoying the move in XRP. I'm sure Rupert's enjoying HBAR going up and a little bit of ADA action as well. So that's what's going on. That's what we're sharing. Don't forget to like and share. This was, by the way, catching up on the shorter time frame just from the device on XRP, which was particularly interesting. So what are we covering in this video? Well, let's get straight into the action. Why do we call a Bitcoin dominance turn again? Well, it's round about the midpoint of our red zone. So we think this time is different. It's coming. We're sticking to our guns. So we've called for a third time. You note you got a major bounce as you entered this congestion zone, demarcated. By the way, this is dominance inverted. I like to invert it. I like to invert a lot of charts often because it helps make things more easy. We have inherent bull biases. We have various other things. You can see, for example, you get a stall box over there, and you kind of had much the same over here. And you tend to trade in between these levels, and since then you've been in a steady grind down. One of the reasons also why Bitcoin's had a very strong dominance period for quite a long time, a little bit longer than I might have guessed, which is why twice before when I called it here, the reversal, it came back, and possibly, I can't remember the exact date there as well, is that we're having a reserve asset crisis due to the debt markets. So the first thing that happens is people go to a reserve asset that won't die like the treasury bills are dying. By the way, for updates on debt, the increase on interest rates in US debt, and many of the other things that are going on in the traditional markets that are actually the drivers for the crypto market and the new system. You can't view these things in isolation. Don't forget our channel. Or the Market Sniper for the traditional markets. It's very, very good. And it talks of the anti-fiats and regularly mentions crypto as well and when that'll be good. So we think that's it, that you bottomed. We could be wrong again, by the way. It's only... Our entire hypothesis is only incorrect, though, if this black line right down here is being run, and we don't see that happening on balance of probabilities. We're expecting the beginning of an up move that will take you in and around these levels, in our opinion. So you're going to go quite some way back, and that's going to involve some very big moves by some of the majors. That's why we like to stay in the majors. The top 25, most of the time we're talking about the top 10, and occasionally we get, 15, and then we get a wild card once every blue moon. The key thing is there's no token that we could ever move against you. We're aligned and wanting to help you on Freeview also make some money. Many of the guys have made some money out of the Freeview leads on trades that we've given you, even though they're later. Then the community is getting them and bought their way into the community of money made, and that's cool. We want to help anyone. Many won't ever come on, but we'll have helped them, so we're happy. Not everyone is meant to be a client, and we understand that, and only the people that are ready and prepared and want to be in a community of the willing, understanding Reset is now, and that the opportunities that Reset creates are actually many. Everyone thinks this is a black pill and a misery story. Well, there's a lot of opportunities to build wealth as well. So that's the Bitcoin dominance. Let's talk about BTC more generally. You can see it's a little bit, after that run up, it's a little bit lackadaisical, a little bit of recovery. Don't forget it made an all-time high. Many tokens at the moment haven't yet made an all-time high. Beautiful upside HVF that we were trading on Bitcoin specifically. So until the turn in the dominance, we still were open to trading the Bitcoin. Look at that upside. Beautiful blow off. Continued and bounced on the target, formed an inverted, came down, kind of in a steady handle place, just made a new high, but not doing anything particularly spectacular. So all good and dandy with Bitcoin looking like it's holding its own broadly. It doesn't look like it's going to fall too far. It looks like there may be something of a flag over there. It's going to trade down in that range, could even come down here, and that can take a little bit of steam out of the alt, but providing it's not doing anything exceptional. Don't forget, these are all located at all-time highs. You're just shy of the 123,400. We can give you that all-time high for those followers. But it's not where the action really is. We just need it not to die hard during alt season. So the high around about 123.282 on this particular exchange. So let's get into the other stuff that's more interesting. Let's start with XRP, because everybody's wondering, Francis, when's the next major target? When could it rest? Well, there's a couple things to this. First of all, on an upside HVF draw, yes, we've got a very flat setup in here. It's a little bit non-traditional. It wouldn't have been a beauty queen, but because the alt market has come on, it's an acceptable draw for us, but it doesn't fall into the category of absolute beauty queen. We've got an interim level 2 and a $4.71 as part of the point where it might rest again. Remember, by the way, this method on a very flat bottomed upside HVF over here gave you the 336 that turned into a 3.4 high that ended up being a weight from January until over here, and you've still not made the 336 and held it. You might have traded as high. What's the high? 3.29. So that sell at 3.36 was absolutely the best sell. You could have loaded up on the $2 and even got a few fills sub $2 by getting back in. So there's those people that just say you should just hodl. Well, if you have a real method and a real process, and you don't want to sit through 3 or 4 months of give back that takes 40 or 50%. It was quite a substantial at its low point retrace, and XRP was one of the better, by the way. XRP was one of the better compared to other tokens that have pulled back up to 70%. That's 53. Some of the other tokens, it's not fun. And then sit for 4 or 5 months. Many of you don't do it. You think you hodl, but you haven't got the stomach for it. Okay, so it's quite interesting to have this discussion. It's nice to get out, and it's nice to be remaining in good balance, not battered by a bear market. But anyway, this upside that triggered for us over here has got a second interim here that has just been run. So you could have a little bit of pullback and churn. Also, this flagpole that's over here from the low to there, when presented from the low here, is also in and around that second interim level. There's some geometry there that's giving me the vibes that that's going to be a potential resting point. I wouldn't leverage long whale in right now. That's the key point. However, you may get a bit of a small push up. Now, we've just had quite a nice little bent run. I'm going to take you to the 2 hourly. Get that loaded. Let's in fact take it to the hourly. We actually discussed this in the community and said this is going to break out to the upside. We know this from experience. You get these structures that have got so much bullishness that there's buying along the bottom. For those of you that said, no, you didn't, this is our private community area trade leaders. This call was given. There will be a dip on here. Get in on the upside. That was done further up. The guys got involved. Here it is. Well done to all community members who took the ascending HVF share. So overnight you wake up, plenty of profits made. You could be doing this too. You could be maximizing this. Sometimes you have to spend something to go. You take half a step forward on your capital, backwards on your capital, which is an investment in you and better outcomes. And then you go 3 or 4 steps forward as a result of that. It's a very useful process. There's the people that use the skinny, I'm shoestringing everything, often don't grow at the rates they should be growing and don't get to see the insights and why. So good move up to 3.3, but you got to bear in mind the previous high was around 3.4. We could get a little bit of up to 3.4, churn a little bit. You have had quite a bullish move from here out of there to the upside. So you could slow a little bit, but in due course, and that doesn't mean that particularly long, we see the possibility, in fact, of the target being made. So let's take ourselves back to the 4 hourly and remind you of that target. And you will see, just as an example, by the way, how progress decay works. This was inverted head and shoulder. You see the blue neckline. This is a complex shouldering, and then eventually the head dip all the way up. What do you get if you get complex shouldering one side? You actually get complex shouldering the other. And by the way, that had an HVF structure in it, a squeezy. You were buying in here and just didn't run the stop. It came so close and up and away. You make target. After you make target, what do you get? The biggest, most volatile pullback move. So often you're going quite ballistic when you're breaking and running the targets, and then that shakes its head and quite quickly it goes again. So, in that sense, it wasn't a long wait, but you made a marginally higher high that could be bearish, but not in this structure in this period. Most people think all rising wedges means breakdown, the probability is down. Context, context, context. We teach you and train you, and we say we're going long for these reasons. And it's absolutely counterintuitive, but you need to understand the volatility squeeze. That was, in fact, a volatility squeezing function. Look how low vol that was. Then you got a final third. You invite it into the dip. It comes down and trades just below the 3. Bang, you grab it and you grab it and you grab it and you knock on it some more. I actually added there, and then you get the surgimentals that take you through to in and around the 3.3. This is not, so we're remaining very bullish on XRP. I want to go back to the daily so we get that correct target. And you'll see that there's a 471 in there. That's going to take you quite some way. By the way, let's go back to the macro. $4.71. Remember that number. This is all about XRP. We're talking to you about XRP. It's going to be the future rails of the CBDC. Follow the Black Swan guys, Verse Sun, and the team for all the updates over there. They are doing a sterling job on the fundamental side of crypto. Also give a follow to Rupert on Real All In Crypto as well. Also very, very good, and he does a lot more on ADA, HBAR, and other interesting status tokens. You've got good guys there. Let's just get ourselves on to a little bit more time frame. So I'm going to take off the T, get us to stamp, and we get a bit more of the history. So 4.71. I told you to remember that number. You do. Say aye, I'm listening, Skipper. Good. Well, then we will continue to serve you if you're listening, because the overall structure of the macro upside HVF that many people are now suddenly discovering and following. Do you see that a 4.71 is a marginal boost to the original? Hey, when we're looking at this at a macro level, there's probably a pause in and around 4.5, 4.55. Thank you for that. Now, as we get closer, target for 4.71, I will take off. It could be another scenario like the 3.6, and you get a bit of debt drama, interest rates up, Trump this, tariffs that, fear, bomb, sell it off, chop it up, waste my time. Lots of hanging in on leverage trades. That's, time, cost of money. They're nibbling away there with their hourly borrowing rate that compounds and compounds by hour, by minute, by day. And you're sitting and you're going down at the same time. Get out at your 4.71. 4.71 is going to take you just through your key level. The second interim, pause for a bit, somewhat of a pullback, have a little bit of chop, buy it all back at about 3.6, make the same territory again, booyakasha, it's all great. We're up to 19.35 at possibly this market, this alt market. It could do it if we get those blow-offs moves. But that could be associated with a moment, maybe you get that little sell-off, that DDE, everybody sells everything because, hey, all our banks got zeroized, or some nonsense, some North Korea has hacked your bank account. They did it to you. You now have zero. Don't worry, we'll make war with them. We will get them back, Thank you, NSA, CIA, Mossad, Axis, and all the other criminals. We're so grateful to have you low-life thugs in charge of running our financial system. The kid says, hey, Dad, I'm considering a career in crime. And the dad turns around, he goes, public sector or private sector. That's how the world rolls, my friend. That's how the world rolls. So we're here to help you be better and make money in times like these. You are missing the Crypto Sniper updates on a regular, ongoing basis for maximizing your wealth. You think you're saving something by not being there, and I'll free view scrape. Good luck. I'm glad you'll get some value. You won't get the full value. You'll be later. You won't get the same R's. You won't get told everything we're looking at. I haven't got the time to do all of that, but we'll help you nonetheless, because we want everyone to win, even those that can't afford or won't. But our take is you're going to do 19.35. I'm hoping. I can't guarantee you. I'm hoping it's this bull market. But I do think we're going to get a run of our second interim this bull market. And I think that break is already on the way. And 4.71 will take you through this 4.5. You could technically, by the way, we should put the most significant number in there between where we currently are, 3 and 10, and that is going to be the dollar of $5 mark. We can stick him in there and remind you, you may get a technical run into the fives. You may. And everyone will say, aha, you sold at 471. And then it'll be a shooting star smash down. And before you know it, it'll be back down at 3. And there might even be a wick at the 2 level supporting and then reversing violently and going back, settling somewhere at 375, 3, whatever, whatever happens, depending on what happens. But we will ride this thing all the way through. And with a bit of luck, we might even get towards the 19.35s on XRP at some point later this same market. But that's not a guarantee. I can't guarantee it. I can't tell you that. It could be the second part happens only in a crisis next year. And it's not even in a halvening period anymore. It's supposed to be a bear market. It could be, it waits for the whole next cycle. It's possible. But looking very good. We're very happy with the progress. And we can see second interim is coming into sight. 3.2 sounds a long way away from 4.55. But for me, those things can change very quickly when you're moving like this. Okay, so that's the bullishness on XRP and why we still favor it. Of course, XLM as a smaller cap overall, probably, let's get coin market cap this last 7 days. So we've been dealing mostly with the top 10. And you can see that ADA, the biggest mover on the 7 days, along with XRP even more than that. So those are our 2 shining stars of the top 10. HVF method gave us both those and we're telling you about them. But you'll actually see that Stellar, which is a more thinly traded, watch how much you put in, actually will do, because of the smaller market cap, a bigger number than will XRP. And because of its association to the CBDC rails, it's climbed a number of points. It's jumped SUI, it's jumped Chainlink. It's even putting some space between it and HBAR, who did very well at 36.99. So the ISO 2022 coins are doing particularly well, but XLM and XRP are the ones. That's what we were highlighting here to you. XLM and XRP 3 days ago, and they were highlighted again, particularly XRP in this one. I like the liquidity that I'm guaranteed for getting in and out. So we've got reasonable size. If you're 100 grand or less account, XLM, you can absolutely trade it. Bear in mind the higher percentage beta will also mean deeper pullbacks when you pull back. And that volatility can do you some damage if you don't know and you keep adding size on the way up. Lack of method will hurt you. Please be aware. Lack of method will absolutely hurt you. And we want to save you. We want to keep you in the game. So what about HBAR, which is Rupert's token? You'll notice that you get these first structures in new trends that actually ascend. Everyone will go, rising wedge, downside. Wrong. Major overperformance to the upside. Nice little HVF there as well on the upside. And here you are. So you've had a proper surge out of HBAR. Also done a good percentage. The winner of the top 15 would be Lumen, Stellar Lumen XLM. But I would say for liquidity and size and scale and predictability and lack of downside volatility, actually probably the best trade was the XRP. And in terms of total market cap, absolute value added, not in percentage value added, XRP's market cap has grown phenomenally. And it has probably now jumped Tether. Yes, XRP has jumped Tether. It's at number 3. I mean, once I remember it taking Ethereum and actually being at number 2. But apart from that short spell, that was, I think, 2016, 17 period. Can't remember exactly. This is the highest position for XRP, volume 14. But look at that market cap, almost at 200. It is now quickly moving to be half as big as Ethereum, which is a major comeback. To be frank, a major comeback, and Ethereum has definitely lagged. But the volume on Ethereum is up. The volume on Bitcoin is clearly up. But the 14 there, pretty interesting. 192. You've taken Tether, the nearest token to XRP after this move. So we're talking about a very big market cap token already. that gave one of the highest percents over the last 7 days that we've started introducing and redoing new coverage 9 days ago. Come on, guys, XRP's coming. Come on, guys. Don't leave the money train behind. We're trying to help you ensure that you maximize this. And you'll get to hear it when we get chance to do an update. The community comes first and the trades come first, but great money taken out of this at the moment. You're looking at BNB, it's done 6% at a time that XRP has done 31. It costs you big being in the wrong thing. Solana at 8. I'm sorry, it's not bad to have done 8.8% in 7 days, but it's bad when compared to 31.8, and you could have done it on a bigger cap token with greater liquidity, with less downside on the volatility to the downside. That's a dominant trade, and ADA as well. So in the top 10, these are some key points, and this won't always be necessarily those two tokens. They are big ones. They have macro setups. We're going to be revisiting them many times. Don't get me wrong. And Vasan knows that. The Black Swan Capital guys know that. That's why you should give them a follow. And they're really up to date, always on that. But there will be moments where another token will have a surge period, and we can help you be in that. But that doesn't mean you have to be chopping your coal pot. We're not on 9 screens. I'm on a laptop here. And most of the day I'm out doing various things at the moment right now. But real opportunities for trade, and we really trade. And in fact, sometimes I don't know always if executions on trades are the best things, but just to show you, we really trade. The entries come in, the stops are there, the move comes in. Same for some others, it's on different platforms. In fact, on this platform, I'll let you see, so there's 60 grand made in profits there. But what actually happened that was really interesting, we were already long for a variety of other reasons. That's the P&L. We dragged the stop above the P&L. And what I was trying to do is to add size on the pullback, and the market was there. And I put the order bid there, and it came just enough to fill a tiny bit. I was looking for a further 70,000, and it filled part of it, but 12,000. So we'd guessed where the pullback was overnight, left it, gone to sleep, put the stop below there. It came and filled most of it, and still left just 12,000 XRPs still to be filled that never got filled. So that's how close we were to picking the low there on that expected third pullback before the break move came. And that's what you should be doing. You should be taking big chunks on all your different platforms out of this market move. And XRP was the trade yesterday. On the traditional markets, I can tell you it was platinum. You got a gap open and it ran. Gold's been relatively dull, still shaking its head. Silver had a surge recently and pulling back. And in crypto, that's it. An HVF method takes you to the place where's the key trade. It's not 100%. I don't have a crystal ball. It's an on-balance of probabilities. Sometimes we get it wrong. It doesn't matter as long as you're making more on the upside. And that's what we're getting the benefit of right here. You can do this leverage trading with XRP or one of the others as your Tron, and Tron, for example, as collateral, and you can be leverage trading the key token to win. So yeah, just a couple of examples of real entry we really trade. And these options and entries and updates are going through an app, device, and desktop to our community members. Book a call below. Maximize this alt run. Guys, it's so important. This is reset. This is reset. Take it from me. It's all coming. Lots of things are coming. You get normalization and everyday periods where one day is just like the other, and then bang, a whole bunch of stuff goes down and the world becomes a different place. This is reset right now. This is your opportunities to make some real alpha on this. And yeah, that's all I can say. Back to HBAR. This is a recovery from this low, just run on the 6.4 billion. That's on the market cap. I'd rather just get a exchange. So let's get the USDT on here and show you a little bit more of what our typical draws are looking like. So we suggested in the community before this happened that there would be a W bottom structure based off that. And that HBAR would run potentially the neckline which it has done, and then pull back to it as part and parcel of a degree of congestion at what was a critical number. It was a critical number because it had shown itself to be significant. This zone here, you can see it had been a form of support to HBAR throughout this period, and the bottom end of the zone was a key area there before, and you can see how it's met there. So there's a bit of a W bottom. You broke it, you pull back to it, your people should be accumulating you here. You're at about 24. What does this mean? What does it mean? Well, it's a good reversal structure from a bear market. This is the lowest point. We would draw up to the W neckline. We should be on log scale. It is a big time frame. We're looking at the daily, for example, and we would add that geometry. It's quite a simple, the double bottom is quite a simple targeting mechanism. So we want to get that, clone it, and put it on top. So the next move, if you nail this on HBAR, you could have that. You could have a stop as tight as 22.424, and you could have a move that would take you up to and slightly through, I have to say, last highs of the last bull market, which will be good. You want to do a lot more than your previous highs, but that would actually break previous highs, both 1 and 2. You had two very similar. That served as a double top, by the way. So just so that everybody understands this, that served as a double top. I haven't drawn every little bit, but it's very, very interesting. You should have had a double top draw somewhere here. I would have probably done it like that. It has to be blue as well. I'll make it dashed so it's slightly different. And you would go from that top to the bottom, and that would have warned you that there is downside to come. Downside to come. So down it goes. No, not there, please. That magnet's a tiny bit strong. And that would have given you a very good target to the downside. So, you know, these things that we do, they have real meaning and they produce real outcomes. You would have done very well getting out with a short trade over there. But you would have had to sit through a little bit of a strong rally back up to the neckline. Many wouldn't have that. By the way, look at that neckline for that W top. So again, W top. You kind of came and visited it again. There's your Batman's ears. And where are you now? There. Fascinating. Key levels of significance. Bang on there. So you might get a little bit of resistance for a while. It's almost warning you. Perfect for it to get a little bit of a winding up structure. But the longer run is, the expectation is you run 41. From 24, you might get another chance to buy it at the neckline, 22.75. It might even go below it if it has a little wrestle. Don't forget you had at that neckline this left shoulder. So maybe it's all a W head and you're about to get a little bit of a dip for a right shoulder and then back up to this level. Now, I normally choose a round number. Let's just see that. It's 25.124. I might fix that a little bit. It's a bit in the middle of nowhere land. 25.124. Make it 125 actually. It's a fairly decent number. It won't change the maths much. And you could have that. So a couple of scenarios of how HBAR might play out for all Rupert's fans on Real All In Crypto. So we've covered, you know, the favorite tokens of both those channels, as I've mentioned. Give them a shout, give them a follow, give them a subscribe on YouTube. They're doing their damnedest to help you. And don't forget the Black Swan guys on XRP and probably to a degree XLM as well. So yeah, that's it. That's where we are. I do like Ripple. I still think it's looking pretty good. Chris Larson moves nearly 30 million of XRP to Coinbase as token nears all-time high. I think they'll be selling into that 471. I think a lot more will happen. I don't think that'll stop the token from going up, but they might want to harvest some liquidity. Some insiders want to make some boodle, and there's no doubting. By the way, tech entrepreneurs have been selling the NASDAQ stocks for ages, and they've gone quite a bit higher. So I wouldn't be too intimidated by that, but you might get a little bit more of that as we go to 471 and start approaching the 5 level, which will be later in this alt market. It's not going to be done overnight. We haven't yet even run fully the 3.36 localized high that we called, that ended up with a full high at 340 yet. So when we get there, that's the localized high. You might also get a little bit of a reaction and chop there as well. Okay, so what have we done today? We've called the alt dominance for a third time. Okay, we were wrong. We admit it. We are calling XRP to outperform Bitcoin. We didn't do any token across with Bitcoin setups and charting. We do a lot of that in our community. So XRP, BTC, HBAR, BTC, HBAR, XRP. What periods could HBAR outperform XRP? XLM, XRP, HBAR, XLM, Tron. We haven't done too many updates on Tron. I'll throw you a little bone on Tron. This is starting to move quite nicely. It's one we talk about. Actually, I would see the 36.9, 37 as, again, reversal patterns that we've just been showing you on HBAR. All a complexity of a shoulder with a bit of a fake breakout and return. And then this is your beautiful cupping. We've got it on log scale here. So it's not showing it as much, but that's a beautiful rounded bottom. And then that pullback. And this is the beginning of a surgimental type run on Tron. So I wouldn't be looking too far past that. But we think also that you'll get through 37. And there will then be blow-off events like last time where we'll go into whole new territory for highs, for searching for highs on Tron. And by the way, this one is on a macro level. You know how we showed you XRP as an HVF? This one is on a macro level. Very beautiful. We've got to go back to log scale. Do you see what I've drawn for you there? Remember that all falling wedges don't go down? This is the mother of all mothers. We have numbers and details. Can't share it all with you, but if you want a free tip, don't look the Tron gift horse in the mouse. By the way, remember I highlight real low volatility for a while. Look at that squeezy Japanesey. There is a moonshoot coming for Tron that most people's faces are going to get melted. You heard it here first. But we're big on XRP. We're big on XLM. Just a bit lighter liquidity. So that's why I prefer to trade the XRP. The absolute number isn't always the best number. You've got to be able to get in, you get out. You've got to get fills. You've got to get... I use limit. We don't chase the market. So, you know, we don't rush in at market and move the stack, etc. If you're small, trade XLM if you want. Remember, it's more volatile. So I think you can be fully served doing XRP. And I do think it will still be the lion of those two tokens, even though XLM will do incredibly well, and in percentage terms more so. Don't look past Tron. Don't look past some other tokens. But we can't give you it all. You've got to find out what else we're interested in, and you've got to find out how we will get entries, when we will be getting those entries, how the stops will be set, how you can use leverage to absolutely maximize during reset times and a major alt bull market that we say is right here, right now. Till next time, hit the link to book a call. You don't know what you're missing in building your wealth. Take a quarter of a step back to make an investment in yourself. You've got a year to enjoy alt bull market. Now's as good a time as any. We're the best for monetizing technical setups in crypto bull markets. That doesn't mean we've got it all right all the time. We're all over the place wrong. But our stops are small and tight, and they're taken quickly, and our gains are long and beautiful and made to a high level. Okay, till next time, I'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Tired of profit wipeouts and blown accounts from following trade signal groups and other YouTube channels? Looking for a better way to trade, reduce your stress, and minimize your risk? Become a skilled technical analyst and see the charts and markets in a new light using the successfully proven HVF method by Francis Hunt, while being surrounded and supported by a principled, structured, and experienced community. Enjoy a constructive learning environment while practically trading markets, supported by a bespoke platform run through browser and app, specifically designed to teach and engage you whilst learning and growing as the markets move. This is not a Telegram or Slack signal group. All trade ideas are based on a proprietary technical analysis process honed over decades, which is the HVF method, leading to trade ideas with fast-moving breakouts and tight stops, exact entries and exits, nuanced interim considerations, and ultimately, strong rewards. Submissions are graded and scored by Francis for potential high-quality setups. and we provide bespoke tools to help get the job done properly and with precision. Over time and with focused effort, you'll begin to look at charts and price action just like Francis. Community updates every day by Francis and our 3 webinars a week provide a 360-degree approach, which are presented by our experienced team of trade leaders to spot potential trades. We're a community of self-actualized individuals, spanning the globe and active 24/7, 365. The premium community provides a warm, supportive, and cooperative place for people willing to listen, participate, contribute, and to learn. We've changed thousands of traders' lives. Transform your approach to trading now. Transform your life. Book an introductory call with us on the link below.